Make It Dairy Free. I'm Larisha.
I am Andrew, and today we are talking about the KFC partnership with Beyond Meat to make vegan chicken available at their stores worldwide.
Yeah.
Is it worldwide?
I think just in the U.S.
Okay, just in the U.S.
Don't excite the Canadians and European people.
My bad, guys. Just in the U.S.
So this is completely different than our normal style of video, but it's basically like a live podcasting type of setup. We just wanted to, one, see if you guys like this type of video, and two, kind of just weigh our opinions on topics like these and, see if you guys agree or disagree and have a chat in the comments about that type of thing.
Yeah,
so.
Give you a forum to pretty much, say your concerns, enlighten some folks on kind of what you think, and for us to do the same.
Be nice in the comments.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially if you're watching this on YouTube. I feel like
there's no reason to be mean. Like, what's the point? Yeah. Be good. Believe in good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. You want to just jump in?
Why not?
All right.
All right. So first and foremost, we want to talk about brand partnerships in general, because this seems to be happening kind of all over, right?
Right.
KFC and Beyond isn't the first merger of let's bring vegan products to a completely non-vegan spot.
Exactly.
So I guess ultimately the question is, like, why do we think, companies like Beyond and so forth are partnering up with these just completely non-vegan companies to try to make these vegan products available?
Yeah, I think that this will be the question that we all kind of agree upon for the most part. I think because we all kind of know it's profit, right? Like,
yeah.
Beyond or Impossible or whoever the company is that is partnering wants to be more profitable, but
see a market for something, right?
Yes, but also the restaurant or whoever is partnering with a vegan company is also trying to increase their profits.
Yeah.
Vegan, plant-based, those type of, buzzwords in the sense are rapidly growing, not only in the US, but worldwide.
True.
More people are not only switching to a completely vegan diet, but they're also, experimenting. I know we, took a long time before we went from like, I'll try a vegan meal here and there to, completely being vegan.
5 years to be exact.
Yeah. It's actually, it was funny because the other day in my Facebook memories, it popped up. It was like chickpea curry. It was like 6 years ago. It's like vegan meal tonight.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I think that, as these words, people keep switching, like I'm going to be flexitarian or I'm going to add in one meatless Monday or something like that, more companies are noticing that and be like, well, I can jump in. So at the end of the day, I think it's profit.
Yeah. Okay.
And you agree with that?
Yeah, I do to some degree, right? Like, I think profit is a huge part of it, but I think, as we said, because these diets are becoming more popular, it's like, how can we capture that marketplace, which goes back to profit? But I think kind of the cause of it is more that diets are now swinging to like, what can I do for my health, just in general, to just be more healthier in order to, longevity and things of that nature. So companies are saying like, all right, we're having these folks with these diets come, what can we do to service that? But I think ultimately the cause is one thing, the effect is another. But profit is probably the overall, purpose.
Yeah, and just to clarify, we've been vegan for over 3 years now, so we understand that veganism is way more than a diet. But when we're talking about a food company, obviously we're talking about the food part of
We're talking
veganism.
Specific, yeah, exactly. We're talking specific, diet related, because this is the food that we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there's any other thing that that they're trying to do besides profit and just trying to like capture those audiences, or is it kind of just those things?
You know what? Like, I think ultimately it when it comes down to it, there's these other purposes, but they all relate back to the same thing, right? So Beyond wants to grow as a company, and that's growing means profit, right? So how do they do that? They make themselves more available
Right.
in other places. So I think everything leads back to that.
Yeah.
So I think no matter which way we look at it, we're probably gonna boil down to the same general purpose.
Yeah.
Is profit. Now, there's other ways we can look at it, right? Because of those other purposes, the availability, the diets, and so forth. But
And I don't think that we can knock them for that either, right?
Yeah.
Like even like any business, no matter where they start,
Yeah.
the whole point is to become a successful and profitable business.
Well,
Everybody
however you can there.
wants to be a Fortune 100 company and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I mean, even I don't think that our small little company would ever be a Fortune 100 company, but at the end of the day, even
never know.
us, like our bottom line is to like, how can we increase profit? How can we reach more people? How can
Yeah.
we, which is exactly what a company like Beyond is trying to do.
100%. So I think in thinking about this, like we see, you know, a ton of back and forth and trade-offs with these companies, Beyond, Impossible, pairing up with like Burger King and you know, the Taco Bell stuff, the Panda Express stuff. Like we're seeing all these things happen in different places, and a lot of these companies are getting a lot of, you know, punches in a sense because of that. But like ultimately, do you think it's, I guess, worthy? Like, do you think that's like like they're doing something wrong by doing this, or do you think that this is a positive, like in the marketplace?
Well, being vegan, I think it's positive because it means more people are gonna try. Like, you know, if there's a 4-piece chicken nugget somewhere, or you know, a $2 burger, somebody's gonna be like, I'll try it. Like, if I don't like it, then it's
so you're
whatever.
saying non-vegans will try?
Yeah,
you
because
know,
it's
vegan
like they
product.
don't have to go out and you know, like they're already there, so
Yep.
it's just like something, you know, different or new, or like I'll try it because I see somebody else trying it,
Yeah.
or something like that. They're not having to make a full meal at home. They're not having to go out and purchase a product at the grocery store.
True.
Like it's literally, I mean, that's the whole point of fast food, right? Is that like it's there and done
Call
for
fast
you.
food for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But I guess your question was more so like, is there something wrong with them partnering? Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, because of the punches that they're getting,
Yeah.
it almost feels as though people are saying that they should not have taken this step. Right? Like, why else are they throwing these punches?
Yeah.
Right? So it seems like that's what it is, like the overall purpose. I'm sure there's more to that,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure there's more to that, and I guess that's kind of what we want to try to explain here. Like, is it a bad thing? Like, is it completely negative? Is there some positives? What are those negatives? What are those positives?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people confuse, like, why would a vegan company like Impossible or Beyond want to partner with a very non-vegan company?
Yes.
Whether it's Taco Bell or Burger King or KFC or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, both of the companies have been very honest in that they're not necessarily targeting vegans, but they're trying to reduce harm of all animals. Vegans are already there.
Yeah.
We already don't want to harm animals, and that's why we're still vegan,
Yeah.
right? And not saying like, well, we're flexitarian or we're plant-based. Like sometimes we do things and like we're already there. We're not their target market.
Yeah.
Their target audience is people that are curious. Like, I'll try that nugget because it's available to me right here, or I'll try that burger, or I'll try. I guess pieces of chicken is what KFC has.
So the convenience.
Yes.
Yes.
Like they're trying to target those people that are curious.
Yeah.
Because if they can make something that tastes similar to what they're used to getting, people will be like, oh, maybe I will try that again in a different form somewhere else, or
Sure.
I'll go back and get it again, or
Yeah.
maybe I will try Meatless Monday at home every single Monday for a year or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even you know, I know you're talking about taste, but sometimes it's about how you feel after the meal, right?
Right.
So if you feel pretty decent after that meal, you're probably not gonna shy away from it again, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's some of the positive too. So in terms of that, you know, the folks that they are trying to reach, I guess from here in the vegan community, we're hearing a lot of both sides, negatives, positives. What specifically are the negatives we're hearing from the vegan community about?
Yeah, I think for
What's
KFC especially, the biggest thing has been that they're not cooking their vegan chicken, I say vegan, but it is vegan. I don't know why I did the air quotes.
Okay.
They're cooking their vegan product in the same vats or fryers as the non-vegan chicken. So just regular chicken. That seems to be the biggest complaint. And then the second biggest complaint that I've seen so far is that why are vegans spending their money at a non-vegan company? Especially one that their whole premise is to kill animals and people consume them.
Yeah.
So those two things are the biggest thing.
Okay.
And it does make complete sense as a vegan to be like, oh, like, pause, like, hold on, like, do I want to consume this?
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't want to ramble here, and I feel like if you
guys
have been with us for a while, you know that we can both talk, but I especially get like sidetracked and like
go for it. You know, you guys can skip ahead. You know, you can
we'll
do what
put
you do.
timestamps in the description box.
Exactly.
But, so as far as being cooked in the same fryers, like we both worked in fast food.
Yep.
So we understand that first of all, like the same people aren't at the restaurants the whole day.
No.
There's also busier times. So we both worked at McDonald's when we were teenagers. So during busy times, like we had dedicated fryers, like for French fries.
Yeah.
McDonald's French fries are not vegan. We understand that. Like for anybody, like
yeah.
So it's not about like, well, they weren't vegan to begin with. We understand they're not vegan, but there were dedicated fryers to French fries.
The point you're making right now is based off the fact that they have dedicated ups and downs.
Yeah.
So as far as business, they have swings during the day. At times they're busy, sometimes they're not. They have shift changes throughout the day. So you're basically making the point right now that there's some dedicated folks there at times.
Yes, because I've seen the argument that said like, well, why can't they just cook it in the same thing as like vegetables or something?
Yeah.
So what the point is that even when we worked there, like we would get so busy that sometimes like chicken nuggets would go in with the French fries. Like it was never like fish products or meat-based products, but chicken would go in with French fries all the time.
Yeah.
So to me, like no matter if you're going to Wendy's or like if these places ended up offering and they had dedicated fryers for French fries, like you're not there 100% of the time. And most people that are working there are not vegan. So they're not being like, oh, don't do that. Like, they're just thinking like, I'm busy. I have to get this food out or I'm going to get in trouble. Like I need the chicken to be cooked.
Yeah.
So even at places that have dedicated fryers, you're not 100% guaranteed that nothing ever went in there.
All right, so before we move on to the next point, you know, this point was about vegans being, you know, in a sense hindered to go to a place like a fast food place because there's no way for them to be able to tell if cross-contamination is happening or if it's not.
Yeah.
But the possibility is there. So the point we were making is that possibility is very much possible.
Yeah.
Not to keep using the same word.
Yeah.
But it's very possible for cross-contamination based off of our experience, current experience that we're hearing.
I mean, it even have like you go into Chipotle to get a sofritas bowl, which we all know is vegan, and you know, like you're like, I want guac, and then you happen to notice like, oh, there's cheese in that guac. Can you like get the guac from under the table? Like, you know, so it's even stuff like that. Like cross-contamination in a fast food place, like is high. Like, I mean, even in a regular restaurant, you have cross-contamination.
That's
so
very possible amongst all of it. So that's a real point. So moving on to what the next point was, which was vegans supporting non-vegan companies in general, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear this all the time. Like, you know, when Impossible comes out with Burger King partnership and they're like, I'm not going to a fast food place. First of all, it's unhealthy. Second of all, like, I'm not giving them my money when they profit off of animals.
Yeah.
So my response, and it's turned into your response too, I think, is always like, so where are you buying your groceries? Because I would love to know. Yeah. Because we live in the suburbs of a very, you know, large city, Philadelphia, who does have a vegan, fully dedicated grocery store, V Marks' shop. And even that for us is almost an hour away.
Yeah.
So even people in the city, like, it's still hard for them to get places like that. So it doesn't matter, like, whether you're shopping at Target or Walmart or Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, like, all of those companies still profit off of selling animal products.
Yeah.
So to me, that point is kind of like a moot point. Like, unless you are literally growing all of your food.
Yeah.
And even that is debatable whether
it is
vegan. Like, whether you're growing your own food or you're shopping at a completely vegan spot, most people cannot afford or have time to do that, especially in the fast-paced society that we live in.
Yeah, so I guess just to further, make your point, us being an hour away from the solely vegan grocer, we probably passed more than 30 to 35 different grocery stores.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about major ones,
yeah,
like
we're not,
ShopRite, Acme, Target,
Shop and
Walmart.
Save,
like we're talking about major ones. So not even like the little ones that are out there, like the Aldis of the world that are still probably not as huge as these other folks, but we still pass those as well. But that would make that 30, 35 list much longer before we get to, a solely vegan store.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, I think, that's a question that I think we could probably make a whole nother video about, right? Yeah. So, do you think, is there anything else to elaborate on that one?
No, I just think that people need to keep that in mind. Like, you go out to eat at restaurants, you shop at grocery stores that aren't, that are still profiting. So to bring it up that I'm not going there because they're profiting off of, and I get it. Somewhere like KFC, heavily, like, their whole brand is selling chicken.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Their whole brand is selling chicken. So I get that, initially somebody might be like hesitant, like, I don't know about that, but like, profit is still profit. Like, it doesn't matter where you're going unless you're doing one of those two things that we said.
Very true. So do you think there's, and because we're not necessarily playing devil's advocate, but we're trying to enlighten folks, kind of, on how to think a bit further about these sides of the arguments.
Right.
What would you, in a sense, say to, I guess, both of these arguments here? So we kind of summed up this last one with, where are you shopping at then?
Right.
And trying to shed light on that. No matter where you're shopping, it's a heavy possibility that they support veganism and further, right? So what do you say back to folks, or try to help folks understand with the first point of cross-contamination? Like, is there anything to say there?
I think it's a legitimate concern, but I think that if you are, unless you are making all of your food at home, it doesn't matter where you go. You risk cross-contamination all the time. And I think it's harder because Beyond and KFC have both come out and said, like, we do not have dedicated fryers, and we're not attempting to have dedicated fryers. So I think when it's thrown in your face, it's a little more like, but the cross-contamination is there no matter if you're eating at PF Chang's or KFC or a 5-star Michelin restaurant. Like, you have that cross-contamination risk no matter where you go, unless it's a completely dedicated restaurant.
So ultimately what we're saying here is that, like, even if you're going to, the Olive Gardens of the world and they start serving, more vegan options, like vegan shrimp, for example, or vegan crab or something in that nature, or if you're headed to, some other, big name spot, sort of like that, a Fridays or Chili's. What you're saying here is that regardless of any of these places, they probably do not have a solely vegan station or vegan cook for these particular items, right?
Exactly.
All right. Now that we have the, I guess, major concerns in terms of negativity, the negatives out there, at least this is ones that we've heard or seen most often.
Yes.
What are some of the positives that we are seeing out there, or that we think we want to share?
I mean, I hope that we can all agree, no matter which side of this you're on, I hope that we can all agree that more vegan companies getting into major brands like this is a win for the animals at the end of the day. Like, if they can sell, 1 million boxes of chicken or burgers or whatever the product is, that the animals are winning at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is it all of the animals? No, it's not. And that's, it's kind of like those like baby steps. And that's why we never judge people wherever they are on their journey, because we took baby steps to get where we are. So some vegans would judge us in the beginning being like, well, if you can eat 2 vegan meals a week, then you can eat 7. Like, that's not where we were mentally at the time though.
No, so, that's a struggle. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. So, are we ever going to see companies like McDonald's, Burger King, KFC go completely vegan? Probably not. But can we get them to sell 15, 20, 30% of their profits in plant-based products if we are showing them that there's a need and a demand for it? I think we can get there. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, the positive is that the animals are winning, and more of these major companies are seeing that they need to offer something. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I completely agree with that point. And also the fact that the animals are winning, I think to add to that, you could say that with the possibility of being able to have that convenience, we are also putting it in a place where more people can now, try it out without having to feel inconvenienced to do so, right? That's a huge thing in America, especially, is convenience, which is we probably have like the most fast food places in the entire world. But it's convenience. So if we can make it so-called convenient for some of those other folks that are not necessarily on the same wavelength, diet, whatever you want to call it at this point, I think that's a good thing, because there's more of a possibility of them trying it, possibility of them, moving their diet slowly to a different one.
And I mean, and on that, like, I think like helping people is, nobody's sitting here trying to argue that any of these options are healthy.
Yeah.
It is fried food. It is, processed heavily. But at the end of the day, if they try a burger or chicken nuggets that are made vegan, then maybe they'll try like, the chickpea curry, or, they'll eat more salads in their diet. So like at the end of the day, maybe, this wasn't healthy, but maybe it's getting them on track to be healthy, which is a win for everyone. Again, especially in America, where diets are not the healthiest compared to some other places.
Yeah, no, 100%. Actually, I was gonna say that's kind of one of the recommendations we usually have, right? Is that folks that are slowly trying to swing over to the vegan side, or at least trying to add some vegan meals, we don't say shy completely away from processed. Probably don't make that your diet, right? Don't do that at all. But add in, maybe one here and or there. This way you can get an idea that, vegans do have the possibility of creating something that's tasty, that, you may like. And then from there, you start getting more comfortable, which is kind of the whole premise of this, right? Is to get you more comfortable trying out these different foods and expanding your palate.
Yeah, I think so. So at the end of the day, like, people are winning, animals are winning, and that's why these partnerships are positive.
So is there any other positive you could see that we're not mentioning at the current moment?
I'm sure if I thought about it, I'm sure we could like list some other things, but I think the fact that, I think the biggest thing is that when we notice huge companies, billion-dollar companies making these partnerships, we can see that we're winning in a way.
Yeah.
It might not be exactly how we want it to be. It might not be as fast as we want it to be. Yeah. But when we're noticing that it's almost like weekly now that, I feel like the UK gets a lot more options, but, whether it's in the UK or the US, we notice that, these companies are noticing that we want something, and they're noticing that there's enough of it to try to make a profit off of it.
Yep.
And so at the end of the day, it's a win.
Yeah.
So whether it's, Krispy Kreme just announced, donuts, or Little Caesars announced that they don't have vegan cheese, but they got pepperoni. Like,
they make Small adjustments, just small adjustments.
But like these major companies that we grew up with and when we were little and stuff, that they're slowly getting to the point where they're noticing what we think is like little vegans. But like obviously if they're noticing it enough to put it on their menu, it's making big strides in how we're eating.
Yeah, I think that's what's great about supporting the small vegan companies until they get to that point that they're big vegan companies, the Impossibles or the Beyonds or so forth. As we keep supporting these solely vegan companies and they're able to, get their products into places that are not so vegan places, one, we're helping that company grow and be more available, but ultimately that helps cut some of that price down. That's a little heavy for us too, right?
Yeah.
But it also helps, spread the love of, less animal deaths overall because they're getting their product to places that, most vegans aren't at right now.
Yeah. All right. So the question that I think everybody kind of keeps asking are these partnerships, specifically right now we're kind of leaning towards the Beyond and KFC thing. Like, are these partnerships for vegans?
Yeah. My overall thought is that, are these partnerships for vegans? It's hard to say, because I do feel like veganism it's like, and we're talking about diet here. I feel like there's a bunch of range within veganism, right? So, is it for vegans? I'm more on the side of it kind of depends on where your journey is in veganism, right? Like,
are you a whole foods plant-based vegan? Then
exactly.
Obviously, it's not for you. Like, are you a junk food vegan? Then maybe.
Yeah. Why not? You know what I mean? But I think overall supporting these mergers by purchasing the vegan item on the menu, I do think that overall can be a good thing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if they're not making a profit off of it, it's going to go away.
It's gonna come out of there.
And then we didn't win anything.
We pretty much have set them backwards. Right? We pretty much have went backwards on trying to get more vegan items available. Because ask any vegan that's a true vegan, right? Like, you're out and about. How hard is it for you to just stop and grab something to eat? Right? Like, so if these fast food places, which you've probably passed 50 of them in a couple miles, like, if that fast food place has a vegan option available, how much more likely are you to say, you know what, I'll take a break, I'll make a stop rather than make 50 sandwiches before I go on my trip.
And I think you make a good point, because I've heard a lot of people saying, like, I'm vegan except when I travel because it's too hard, or I'm vegan except when going out to eat with friends. So the more restaurants, whether it's fast food or regular restaurants, that can offer vegan options, the more we keep people on track to be vegan all the time. Whether or not the ethics of how it's cooked is in play or not, they're staying vegan at the end of the day. I was gonna say something else and then I totally
you seem like you were on a roll, so I'm like, go ahead, knock it out, whatever you're saying there.
One thing I will say is that I think, like you said, like, depending on like where you are in your veganism, like, are you a raw vegan or whole foods plant-based vegan? Like, obviously this isn't for you because you would never consider it to begin with. So we're not really talking to those people, but the people that would go to fast food place and consume stuff like that, like, yes. And I think that sometimes it's like an ethical thing too, depending on the brand. Like, we personally don't support Nestle companies, so like if a brand had partnered with Nestle, like, to create something, we still wouldn't buy it. So I think if there's an ethical or a moral code of why you don't support something, then that has to be taken into account too.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, for a high majority of vegans that would consume fast food or, you know, are traveling and need an option, like I think it is for them.
Yeah.
The choice is yours, right?
100%,
I think that's how we
100%.
I think that's the conclusion of this. Like
Yeah.
I can't tell you to go out and support KFC or Burger King or
Nope.
Panda Express or Krispy Kreme. Like
Yeah.
I can't tell you to do that. It has to be a choice that is heavily made by you, and you shouldn't feel guilty if you decide to do it, and you shouldn't feel guilty if you decide not to do it. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, you know, there's a lot of negativity and judgment in the vegan community, and that's we have strived since day one to not be that space.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of just goes back to our whole premise of not judging people whether you do it or you don't do it.
Yeah, as long as you just make the effort, you know, in order to do what you can to be vegan and, you know, save the planet, save the animals, and ultimately you're doing your part as much as you can right now. And like we did, we took our many years to get where we got to. So we're finally at the full flesh, you know, vegan buying things that are like we literally look at the label of everything to make sure it's, you know, vegan. So like we're at that point in our journey. So you know, hopefully a lot more people can get there, but take your time. We completely understand. Mental health is best.
Yeah. Is that the conclusion? Just do what you want to do?
I think really that's
yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. I think that we kept this video. I'm not going to talk for another 5 minutes so it doesn't go over, but I think we did good. I think we kept it we stuck to our points, and
for the most part,
20-ish minutes.
It's definitely over 20 minutes.
You think so?
Yeah, no, 100%. This video is like probably 40.
No!
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say so. Probably even an hour.
Oh man, we tried, guys. What can we do?
Yeah.
If you guys like this type of, you know, talking back and forth, bringing up, you know, important vegan questions, let us know in the comments, and potentially we'll do some more like this. We have some ideas when we were throwing out this one, so if you guys like it, then we'll consider doing some more. If you have topics you want us to talk about,
yeah,
let
for
us
sure.
know.
Yeah.
I think it's good. The banter between us is good too, because we don't necessarily agree about everything. So
We don't.
We kind of have that like Breakfast Club type of, no, that's not true. That didn't happen. Like, I don't agree
Not
with
as cool
you.
as those guys, but maybe one day.
Maybe we get some experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. We hope you have a great week and enjoy this video, and we will see you in the next video.
All right, believe in good as always, and peace.
Bye.